Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Behind the Loo. We got a pretty jam-packed episode today. We have the Battlehawks, which is our main conversation, losing in their uh, third or fourth playoff game.
Third.
Third, and then the Cardinals sweep the Reds. So, uh, two very wide-ranging topics on emotions, but we'll start with the Battlehawks. Mason, what are your uh, post game and day after reaction?
So I am obviously disappointed with the outcome of the game. I really thought they had a chance. They were playing great. I think the majority of the game, some missed passes by Perez, which kind of stunk. But like in some drops, some wide receivers giving up on the play. The giant chunk. Most of the plays that we really lost this of the game were massive chunk plays, like the runs. Um, So it's that's how we lost. That's how the Renegades played at the beginning of the season, and that's how we lost to them. And that's how we lost again was to the Kings with these explosive plays. Um, the game I thought was always within reach. Then the fourth quarter comes and we start seeing the Battlehawks collapse and do their penalties stuff. Can't get out of their own way. Offense was good enough, but to keep the game close, but the penalties. This team gets in front of itself all the time and stumbles on itself. Louisville deserves all the credit. They deserve the win. I hope they go over and smack DC in the mouth. But I'm just disappointed in this team. They had it. They had it. Besides the offensive unit, and now we're seeing it for a third season in a row, and we're fully living in the playoff curse. We are the butt of the league.
It is weird to see how it's all played out. I mean, defensively too, I think there was a total defensive collapse in the second half, in my opinion, from watching the game. And like you said, in this team gets in its way too much, and we saw that in the last three games. I feel like from the season and leading into this. Honestly, I'm more than disappointed. I'm pretty mad at the fact that this team can't pull it together. This organization isn't understanding the pressure of success for a football franchise in St. Louis. And I don't even, I kind of want to go as far as saying that they underestimate our win now feeling. Like, this was the whole storyline of the UFL when it came back was St. Louis now has a professional football team. They're on the forefront of what UFL football is and making everything go through the league run through St. Louis. And now after so many falters and not being able to come up in these clutch moments, it makes me question if the Battlehawks are still the poster child of the UFL, or if we start giving the crown over to the DC Defenders because they're going back to the championship game. It's in DC, and that crowd has the energy. I've seen a couple of games that Mason and I have watched together, and they have it. They have all the makeup of what St. Louis should have or strive for, and since we haven't reached that, it's more than disappointing. It's not fair to the city.
Yeah, no, I see what you're saying because DC obviously got a championship last year, a more dominant team than they were this year, at least until Taylor got injured.
I mean,
Uh,
for God's like, even look at the very first one. We saw a different team win the championship at our field
Twice.
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 Yeah, and then that's what's brutal. I think that's why everyone's kind of pissed off is because the league, they were giving us respect. The dome was always available. We always filled it out, and then they set up the layup for us to just get into the damn championship game, and then we just shit the bed, and then they stuck their neck out for us, and then no one shows up to the dome because the Battlehawks aren't in it. DC comes up to the occasion. They're down to their third quarterback at one point in this last game, and they're gonna have an incredible showing at the Audi Field. So I see it shifting. It could be DC. The Stallions were the spring darling for a long time because they won all those championships in the USFL, and then they came to the UFL and did it right away and won. Um, but you could be right. It's St. Louis is the attendance is coming down, and the allure of the Battlehawks being new in town could be, could be evaporating. You know, the they can't do it. This team's disappointing everyone. I think they're disappointing the UFL and they're disappointing St. Louis.
Right. So then this leads into the next question that I'm going to have for you, Mason, and kind of just open up the conversation to this topic of where do you sit with the Dome now going forward?
I like the Dome. The Dome is kind of admittedly depressing for anyone that wasn't there for the Rams era or heavily invested. It screams 2000s when you go on the inside. It's really big, so that's the impressive part of it. But for the Battlehawks playing there, I think it's very important because it captures that past crowd of the Rams, and it's inside. It's air conditioned. It's got all the lots around the outside. It's perfect for tailgating. Concession sucks ass, and like I said, it's kind of an eyesore. And if you do happen to look up, you're going to see a lot of empty seats. I don't really look at that, but I do think the Dome is still the best move moving forward because the Dome's not going to go anywhere either. St. Louis isn't going to do anything with it. It's Monster Jam and like Kendrick Lamar and stuff like that every so often. But
Chris Brown.
Yeah, Chris Brown, yeah. Chris Brown and Kendrick Lamar.
Just those two.
I can't believe Chris Brown sold that shit.
And Pink. Don't forget about Pink.
Oh yeah, Pink. Actually, a while back ago, with off topic with this, I do remember whenever Metallica and Pantera was off, they also sold out the Dome as well.
Yeah, kind of keep that too. But the one thought I wanted to put out was, I think the Battlehawks are becoming, if the UFL had one, the Cowboys of the league.
That's what the haters in the UFL chat.
But
say.
I do
kind of agree with them now.
Yeah, I mean, you look.
But the only problem is that the Cowboys have a bunch of freaking championships.
Yeah,
back in the 70s or whatever the hell it was.
But you look at just that, and then the attendance issue, which leads into that whole stadium issue with if they're going to continue to play at the Dome. I know it's been talked about the Energizer Park of them moving there in the next couple of years. And Sean, I know, is on board with that. But for me, like with my argument with not having them leave the Dome is with spring in St. Louis, you just don't know what you're going to expect weather-wise. And I think that alone is just going to hurt crowds because we've already seen an inside Dome atmosphere. Crowd sizes are already going down regardless of what the weather is outside. If we go to Energizer and it's like raining, I don't think you're going to see people come out at all for those games. And then there's no tailgating. You lose the atmosphere of it feeling like a football game. It'll kind of just feel like an event going on at Energizer Park in my eyes.
Like the 5 games a year. It's like, oh, it's a special time. Less of like, oh, it's Battlehawks season. Let's go. Let's show up to Energizer Park.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't think we'll get that. Yeah, it'll be more of a casual thing in the diehards in the supporter section. But
and even looking at a map, I'm trying to because I did want to try and play devil's advocate with the idea of tailgating there. But the more I look at it, it's like you have Market Street, which is the main road for getting into Energizer Park, especially now since going to a St. Louis City game. I understand the layout and kind of the argument with it, but I doubt anyone's going to flood Memorial Plaza with Battlehawks stuff or even
that's where the main fan thing's going to be probably.
Yeah, or going to Union Station to set up, or just barren. But looking at it, it's not plausible to set up anywhere for a tailgate.
I've told a lot of people, the tailgating is not going to be great. There is another idea, but they're not going to spend more money. They don't want to make it more complicated. The Dome is cheaper than Energizer Park. I can't say that for sure, but it has to be. There's no one using it, and that's why they keep hosting it there. They keep getting sweetheart deals. I think someone told me the deal is pretty trash because it's like the Dome. the Dome gets like the first 10,000 seats. Oh wait, no, UFL gets the first 10,000 seats sold at the Dome. Like they pocket that directly, and then all the seats after 10,000, the league and the Dome split the profit from the seats, the concessions, and then like other sales. And if you think about it, Dome's not getting any freaking money. The UFL is making like they have a great freaking deal with the Dome because St. Louis is kind of getting screwed with their deal with it, but it's getting used, and that's all they really want.
Oh, the St. Louis football team getting screwed out of a deal?
Yeah,
How
St. Louis
unfamiliar.
loves to make deals. St. Louis loves making great fucking deals. Let me tell you what. We wouldn't even have the Battlehawks at the Rams Day because there wouldn't have been anywhere to. Obviously, they wouldn't have come because they came off the hate of the St. Louis Rams league.
Yeah.
But they were gonna blow up all those shitty buildings and shit anyway. We would have where we tailgate on Biddle Street. It would have been all Rams property right now, and like stores, and the stadium would have been right there.
It probably would have
Well,
been the riverfront too, which
Yeah.
would have been awesome.
Yeah.
And they
So-
are starting to do more development stuff too. I shouldn't say development, but more. What's the opposite of development? Deconstruction, I guess.
Of all those shitty buildings.
Yeah, they're tearing a lot of them down.
That really bad building. Because remember, the main tailgating area, that's like all that gravel and stuff. They had that huge building that was in the back, and they finally tore that down next to the Vest bottle and whatnot. And I don't know, man. I don't. This is like such a it's such a concerning loss to see happen.
This is
and
like
it just
the
sucks.
worst loss I think it's got me worried for next year. Just because things were already expensive and people are already like, oh, it's not the appeal anymore. And we've seen it 2 years in a row now. It's gotten worse. That even the playoffs don't bring people.
They don't have the 400s
They
open.
don't.
They don't
No,
have
like when
the,
I went,
And
yeah, when I went to my first game like a couple of years ago, my first playoff game, I'll still say yesterday's game's atmosphere with how small the crowd was still pretty electric.
It was really good.
But going back to like 2 years ago, it was so much more electric. I mean, you have like I had to sit like in the 300 sections because everywhere else was full. Like all the 100s were completely full.
Yeah, it was
And
nearly double the people.
and then like when touchdowns would happen, you would see the confetti get thrown like crazy. Like it still is, but it's nowhere near the same level. And then like the chants after each first down that they do, those are really loud. It was like shaking the building even. And you just don't like ever since that game, I feel like that's when it started, like that 2024 season. That's when it started going downhill because we were supposed to make it because the championship was scheduled to be at the Dome that year. And we're like, oh, okay, so now we get the championship home field advantage because we were already assuming that we would, and it just didn't happen. And the following year they gave it to us again, didn't happen again, and now here we are, the third year in a row, talking about another season ending in pain.
Yeah.
So I want to follow up with that too, unless you got something, Mason.
No, a lot of people do think that because it's whenever Fox came in from the USFL, a lot of people think that the XFL had it right. Both 2020 obviously was a beast, and I think we're getting back there. It's just kind of like it's like I said, it's not the appeal or the allure of what it was when it first came out the gate. But XFL in 2023 too had all the fans, but when they merged, that's when everything kind of got all gray and attendance started dipping, and yeah, I don't know what's going on. But yeah, what were you saying, Sean?
Oh, well, I was going to ask you this. The big question now, where do you go forward? Who are you re-signing? Who are you letting go? How are you fixing the Battlehawks to go forward for next season?
So, Brandon Silvers gets dropped. I'm scared to say Luis Perez might be coming towards the end. I believe he's been playing since 2016 or 2017 with the Spring League, or the AAF. I think the AAF. But I think I'd like to see Harrison Frost stay, because he looks like he had it, but he was just a goon, kind of. I could see him developing. But the quarterback room is absolutely where you have to start. That has to be you have to have confidence there. AJ Smith is a major question too. I kind of like what he did this game because a lot of it was just screw ups by Perez or the offensive line letting them get to him. But I would say the offensive coordinator and the quarterback, the offensive coordinator might need to change, and the quarterbacks, you got to let go of Silvers. You can't have all three of those guys.
Right.
You go get Diego Pavia. Just kidding. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Hey, Diego Pavia. Yeah. But start with the quarterback room. We're gonna see what the defense looks like because a lot of those guys are gonna get picked up.
Ooh,
I
that's
think
a
the
good.
defense doesn't change too much.
Yeah, that is a better question to ask. Is who do you think is going up to the NFL after this year on the Battlehawks?
That was my question too. Yeah.
Let me see. Let me pull up this UFL roster because I'm trying.
Because
to
I do agree. Like most of the time, the defense was like rock solid for the season.
I think Hakeem really isn't gonna get back. He's kind of he's coming down. He's getting injured. He's doing those easy drops. He's not going to come back. Or he'll come back to the Battlehawks, but he won't make it back to the NFL.
Not even preseason tryout.
Jarvian Howard could make a practice squad, but I don't think he's going to be Jacob Sailors. He did. I was saying for this game he would go off, and he started to, but then we started sputtering and shooting ourselves in the foot again, and then we just had to take chunks running plays. So I just put that on record. I did say Jarvian Howard was going to have a game, and he was starting to. So I was kind of wrong. Let's see what else we got in here. Perez is not making it. Sal Cannella, I'd like to see get back out there. He was starting to jump out again at the end, but we did not do him any favors. This last game, he was picking it back up, but the Battlehawks did not do him any favors to get back up. James Bostic was fun. He could make it up. At least just off of the Battlehawks. But the defense, though, that was all offense.
You got Harris, Linton, Payne, Farrell, Stallworth, Hawkins.
Yeah. OJ Moutier would be cool to see go up. I don't know if he will. Sims has a chance. Tamapenu is still a freaking beast, but I don't think they'll bring him up.
I feel like most UFL kickers too have like a good chance as well.
There was actually a lot of bad UFL kickers this year. Tanner Brown is for sure going up. The Kings
Right.
kicker, him and Matt McCrane, I think, are the only kickers that have a shot of going up.
Dude, that field goal! Oh my god!
He got 2 4-point field goals. He got 2 of them.
Yeah, that was a nail in the coffin.
He was
in that
basically
fourth
the reason
quarter.
we lost the game.
Yeah.
As soon as he made that first 4-point field goal, I was like, oh no. This is going to... I don't know why I didn't think about Tanner Brown for this game. Because if you guys think about it, they didn't do shit in the air.
No.
They got that touchdown, and they might have had their chunk plays, but they didn't do shit in the air.
8 points came from just field goals.
Yeah. No 3-point field goals either. It was all extra points and 4 points.
Yeah.
Chandler Rogers just did okay. He got a good quarterback.
That's why I kind of hate that rule too for the UFL. And the kicking rule. I mean, it's kind of cool in theory, but
The 4-point?
yeah, the 4 points and stuff.
I love
I think
the 4-point.
I love
think
the 4-point rule too.
my thing with it is I feel like it encourages teams to not go. Like I think it just kind of it hurts the enjoyability of the game on an offensive perspective, where they're not.
Enjoyability of it, having to punt on whenever you're across the 50-yard line, or not being able to punt after the 50-yard line. I hate that rule.
That's the only one I'm kind of iffy about is the 50. I like the 4-point though. It just sucks whenever I think the main reason it sucks because a lot of 6 out of 8 of the kickers to me aren't that great.
I just feel like teams that, I mean, as they should take advantage of the field goals, but I think it's just more prevalent in the UFL now because of that rule, to where there's no. I feel like the offenses just don't get those moments to really shine because they don't go for it as much as like, oh well, we're here, we might as well just get the especially if they're depending on the time of the game, they just always go for the field goal. And I think that just kind of takes energy out of the fans. To me, as someone who's not a big NFL watcher, really, that's how I take it.
Hey,
but
as someone who owns a Justin Tucker jersey, I'm all for field goals.
Yeah, dude, the NFL does
Yeah.
that shit all the time to take
Yeah.
the points. It wasn't until recently I feel like in the last 3 years the NFL started going for it on fourth down, but I don't give a shit about talking about that.
We're not talking about the no fun league here.
Yeah.
There'll be stuff this fall. Don't worry. Just Mason won't be involved.
Mason won't be involved for it.
I'll be involved, but man, I'm gonna talk a lot of fucking shit.
But
I just want to say real quick while you're saying that, because we were talking about, because for everyone that doesn't know, my NFL team is the Broncos. They were my second team when the Rams were here, so I just kind of like jumped to them, jumped back on them being my number one. Going into this last Super Bowl, we were like, oh, Chinese New Year, you're the horse. And then we found out the calendar didn't start until like March or something. And so technically this upcoming season is the year of the horse in Chinese calendar. But I draw the comparison because we just got beat by the Louisville Kings. The horse. Is this the Kings United Bowl? Is it really the year of the horses? That's why the Vegas Golden Knights are going to win, and the Spurs, all those horses.
The level of conspiracy theory going on right here.
Yeah, I'm just drawing all the connections.
The Knicks are probably gonna win. So.
Yeah, I've been nicked by a horse before, so that's you're the horse. You're the horse.
There's no horse baseball team.
Is there not?
No. Not that I can think of off the top of my head, no.
You know, now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever seen a horse play baseball.
But anyway, the last thing I want to get on with the Battlehawks for sure is this curse. You know, we talked about like the curse of them just making playoffs, but then we saw, and it kind of leads into the Cardinal conversation a little bit too, is
the Mason theory.
The Mason's theory about when the Cardinals and Battlehawks play the same day, they don't both win on the same day, which is a lie that has been broken. The one time that Sean and I went to the
sports
trifecta. Yeah, going to the
that was
Blues.
a sports equinox.
Yeah.
I don't count that one because the Blues helped the Battlehawks.
The Blues played after the Battlehawks.
Yeah, but they were like in the locker room and shit and like talking to him and stuff and being on
We're
Discord.
giving a little pep talk. We're like, hey, we know what it's like to be losers every once in a while. It's okay.
No, but at Bar Napoli waiting for them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, like, do we actually believe that is a running thing? And like, what could be the cause of that? Is it just luck or?
I just think it's more so. I'm just saying that because it's a repeating thing, but it's when there's the home games too. I've noticed that it's the home games are usually when they're losing.
Do you think it's because like they just are worried about attendance because they think there won't be as many people there because of the Cardinals?
No, I don't really know if there's. I think anyone that says that the Cardinals games being on at the same time as the Battlehawks games is bringing down attendance is kind of full of it. Especially whenever the Cardinals are going against the Reds and are about to sweep them. Like, what does that game even really mean? Besides pride. And then you got a playoff game going on at the same time.
I think that series meant a lot, and we'll get into that. But
did it mean more than a UFL playoff
No, it did not. But it was just more. Again, we're talking about a minor league football team here, though, and
yeah, but I just think
city interest of it.
Yeah, I just think that the only times our sports teams get a pass when it's direct attendance competition is Blues, Blackhawks, Cardinals, Cubs. Those are the only ones I ever actually truly look at attendance numbers being dipped down. But do I think the curse is real? I think it's curse coincidence at this fucking point. And I'm getting tired of fucking turning around and being like, did the Cardinals win? And you go, yeah. I'm like, God fucking damn it!
That was so true. Oh my gosh. I even left early to try and help you out because usually whenever I leave early, they just come back and win.
Fucking horse shit, dude. Dean Blandino.
It's year of the horse shit.
Year of the horse shit.
Maybe that's what it is. 'Cause, you know, Knicks are kind of horse shit too, so kind of all adds up. But no, the last I'll say about the Battlehawks, I'll let you guys get your final thoughts. Is disappointing. Just I don't even know where they move forward wise, like on roster side of it, just because it's so much more different. But to get fan engagement back, they have to do a lot more fan service next year. They have to do more advertising next year. Like a lot of money has to go into it to try to get these people back. Because as you've seen, you're starting to lose some of the diehards at this point for this
Well,
loss.
I think that Die Hard. There's a couple of them saying they were done, but everyone's gonna come back around. I was
Yeah.
fucking pissed off.
Yeah. And then also, I wanted to shout out the people we interviewed at the tail time, doing those, again, those pregame thoughts. We plan on doing those more often too. So if you haven't seen those yet, check out our Instagram and TikTok. Like I said, we'll be doing those at like a Cardinals games, Blues games, and just around the city eventually. So, well, no, they were really fun to make, and the energy was really high for them.
Yeah, I was going to say my final thoughts is just simply kind of echoing your point of making up to the fans. St. Louis deserves success. We've dealt with mediocre with the Rams for too long. I'm tired of talking about the Rams, to be honest, as a St. Louis person. I think it's time that we stop using this as a crutch and stop using our spite and weaponizing it as a fuel to enjoy a Battlehawks game and just simply be there for the team instead of out of it being for spite. And the Battlehawks need to step up. Going back even to the final regular season game, they need to do a service to season ticket holders for that kerfuffle that we didn't even get a chance to talk about not meeting with them or the players not being around to sign stuff for the season ticket holders that stayed after the game. Even though it was a loss, it's just all bad energy, and we got to move forward, and we got to make this a successful product for everybody because St. Louis deserves it.
Yeah, we totally do. And they totally fucked the season ticket members this year. Rapoli is listening. If any of you guys are fans, tweet at the dude, X at the dude, whatever the fuck they call it. He will listen. He does listen. Everyone bitched it up and down at him about the season ticket event that didn't happen, even though they said it did. It was a piece of shit. But hold in there. You got to go through the bad times. These times fucking suck. It reminds I was there with the Rams, and you have to stick with this team. If you abandon it just because they're losing and you feel like you're cheated, that's kind of how they get you. They got us with the Rams. Everyone started feeling that way, and everyone left. And the Rams actually didn't give a fuck about St. Louis. The UFL does. But just stick in there. Show them you care, because the wins will mean more when it happens. The games are only going to get cheaper, or I hope they do. And the product will get better, and we'll get there. So, hang your head high, and we'll win the championship in the next 10 years.
Please be sooner. Don't make it the 10th year. I'm begging you.
I'm not making any fucking promises anymore. I'm done with promises.
No, I think that's a good closure to really another disappointing Battlehawk season, for sure. But Sean, you know what wasn't disappointing was our St. Louis Cardinals. They swept. They swept the Cincinnati Reds, which the Reds have been dwindling bad, but the series was fantastic overall. You saw the return of Nootbaar as well. You saw key contributors to a lot of different players, and there's some updates roster wise that I want to get into as well. But they just do like a quick series recap on that Friday game. The Cardinals won 10-3. That was the Kyle Leahy start, where he only went 4 innings, but then Hunter Dobbins, who will be mentioned later, comes in and completes the game with not having to use anyone in the bullpen. So we didn't have to use JoJo Romero. We didn't have to use Riley O'Brien, Stanek, Soriano. None of those guys were used on Friday, which led into Saturday's game, where those guys were available, and Ollie was very aggressive with bullpen management. Saturday was another big thing for the Cardinals this year, is being one of the best comeback teams in baseball. I think at the end of the weekend, they were up to 19 of their wins were come from behind wins.
My favorite way to do it.
Yeah, and then so with that game, they won six. The Saturday game, they won 6-5 with a clutch Newt-Bar home run to give us the lead in the 8th inning. That was electric. And then the way the game ended, there's one. This series, one thing also showed me how Sal Stewart for the Reds is one of the most punchable faces I've ever seen. Like he is, God, I fucking hate that guy now. He's
Sal
annoying.
Stewart?
Sal Stewart, he's annoying as fuck. On that Saturday game, he had a whole situation where it was like bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, 2 outs, and he had like a 3-1 count, and there was a pitch thrown that was called a ball, so it was ball 4, and he starts taking off all his equipment, like all his shin guards and his elbow guards, because he's a superstar, apparently. He has to have all this equipment on him. So he starts taking it all off, so confident that it wasn't going to be overturned, I mean. And then Jimmy Crooks challenged it, came back as a strike, so then he had to spend another like 30 seconds putting all that equipment on. And it's just, here's Sal Stewart.
It looks like he has caterpillars for eyebrows.
Yeah, he has a very chiseled. Oh yeah, hold on, you guys see this one?
Dude, his mustache is as big as his eyebrows. Yeah.
He's fat.
What a face.
Yeah, he's a big old.
Yes, us on a podcast talking about how a professional athlete is fat is kind of wild.
But no, anyway, so he had to put all of his equipment back on after that challenge got overturned, and he ended up the next pitch he grounded out to end the game. Electric win on that game too, just because of the Newt-Bar home run coming back late.
Yeah.
And then Sunday was
it was
a little boring. If Mason watched that game and saw how the Battlehawks turned out, I think he would have been more pissed because we won off a bunt that turned into an error by Victor Scott, where he bunted the ball down, and then the Reds pitcher threw it past third base and it went down the line, and that brought in the run. So
and then the Cardinals bunted down Victor Scott.
Yeah, we'll get to that too, but great series overall. It was a little sloppy, but you got the wins done, and that's all that matters. Some standing updates we've had. That was our 4th win in a row. We are now 35-28 on the year, which is good for second place. In the Central, behind 5 games behind the Brewers, who are just not slowing down at all. And then in the wild card, we hold the number 1 wild card right now. So if the season ended today, we would be hosting the Phillies at Busch Stadium.
Dang.
From 2022. Mm-hmm. The Phillies are number 2, and then I believe the Pirates are the 3rd wild card standing.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks are the 3rd wild card team. So yeah, it would be National League would be Braves, Dodgers, Brewers as division winners.
God, look at that differential between the Cardinals and the Brewers.
The run differential?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Brewers are a very strong pitching team. But I think the one other thing I want to bring up in standing wise is the Cubs. They are collapsing. They are now 34-32 on the year. And I think if you look back on, I don't know if you can look at this somehow, but I think at the beginning of May, they had like a positive 40 run differential, and now they're down to 3, which is just, that's abysmal. I think they lost to the Giants over the weekend, like 8. They allowed 6 home runs. And that was at Wrigley too.
Jesus.
But
yeah, I don't know how to do that off the cuff.
No,
you're
just go to
good.
schedule. So I think schedule will show their win-loss as well on the far left. Yeah. No, because I saw that from May going forward, even in June, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah, their May was abysmal. They had a 10-game, I think it was 11 to 10-game losing streak. Yeah, you see right there.
So 1, 2, 3,
from May
4,
9th
5,
to
6, 7,
the
8,
27th.
9, 10.
10-game losing streak. Yep.
They didn't win until the 27th against the Pirates.
Yep. And then we won that next series that weekend. But no, I think this kind of leads into where the roster updates. Praise for Chaim Bloom on what he's done with this roster. these last few weeks. They are very small moves in the moment when you look at it from a. It's really impressive. So they actually sent Victor Scott down to AAA late last night, which was a shock to me. I know he's been underperforming, and I knew it was probably going to come at some point. But because if you just look at his stats on the year, he's got a 194 average, a 276 on base percentage, and a 534 OPS. That's just not going to cut it in the big leagues. I don't care how fast you are or how good defensively you are. You're not going to be able to do anything when you're putting up those kind of numbers offensively. And I think the other thing is his speed can't even be utilized on the base paths like it should be because he's only on base 27% of the time. Like most of his, in his at bats, he only goes on base 27% of those at bats. So you're not, and then when he is on base, he's not running or he's caught stealing. And then Ollie didn't trust him to bat offense, but he can't bunt. So it's just like, why? If you can't drop down the bunt, the question is why are you in the big leagues? And now he's not in the big leagues anymore. So with that move, Nathan Church is coming back from injury, which I think is really exciting. He had a really strong start to the year, and I hope he can come back to that because he's a gamer, dude. Like he's not gonna be a star. He's not gonna be like Jordan Walker or anything like that. But Victor Scott being replaced by Nathan Church that's a big offensive improvement. But then like some of the other moves Himes made, like he now are putting Hunter Dobbins in the starting rotation as a 6-man rotation. That's a big deal because our pitching has held itself, like our starting rotation's held itself through this last couple months, especially when our offense hasn't been as strong as it should be. But the fact that he's bringing in that reinforcement. The other one's Pedro Pages. Pedro Pages taking a secondary role as a catcher where they're like, Ivan Herrera is going to catch 2 days a week. And Pedro Pages is just not doing well defensively or offensively, but he's a big clubhouse guy. They decided to bring up Jimmy Crooks, who's been killing it in AAA. And then they told Pages that, look, man, you're not, like, you're a big part of this clubhouse, but you're not going to catch anymore. Maybe like 1 day a week, maybe 2 if you're lucky, and I think Heim making that decision for a guy as respected as Pedro Pages in that clubhouse, just on a morale standpoint, shows to me on how much Heim Bloom is kind of turning the season to where, it is a rebuilding year and we're going to still stay focused on that, but also we're going to make the decision that's right for us to win and win now. And those 3 moves, I think, really solidify showing like I'm focused on what this year right now and what this could bring potentially for how good they've been to start off the year.
All right, so then let me ask you this question as we look forward to the next few games coming up and whatnot. It looks like the Cardinals have the series against the Mets, series against Minnesota, San Diego, Kansas City, 1 day off, and then they're back at home in Arizona and Miami. So we're looking at a total of about, I think that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 games in 21 days. 20 games in 21 days. What's your optics on looking for the schedule, and how are you feeling against these series coming up and whatnot? And how tired does just looking at the schedule make you? Because it makes me tired thinking about these players playing all these games.
No, I actually think this is probably the easiest part where they need to capitalize. Because, you did that a few weeks ago. You had that 17 games in like 16 days or something like that. It was supposed to be like 16 games in whatever it was. It was like some like a really crazy amount. They're all around like teams that are over 500 and fighting for a playoff spot. You look at this this schedule right now. The Mets have completely collapsed this year. You should take that series. They've been better, but I still think we're better than them. I think you can take 2 or 3, and you don't have to face like Francisco Lindor or anything like that because he's injured. So I think you could take 2 or 3 of that. Minnesota, you should sweep, in my opinion. I would take 2 out of 3, but I think that's a potential series sweep there because their pitching staff is abysmal. Their offense isn't anything either, and I think just where high to where we should be able to take care of business down up in Minnesota. And San Diego has quietly been collapsing as well.
Yeah,
That next series,
they surprised me.
they have been completely abysmal. I think they lost like 7 games in a row. I don't know if that got broken recently, but their offense is just non-existent. Fernando Tatis has been one of the biggest shocks in baseball, like probably in the last like 5 years, with how he was like one of these superstar players and being the slugger that he came up as, and just kind of taking the world and making the league his. And now he just hit his first home run last weekend.
Yeah, he's been
Like,
silent as hell this year.
yeah, and then Manny Machado is showing his age. Jake Cronenworth has been bad. Um, the only thing the Padres worry me with is if you don't have a lead going into the late game, Miller, and Mason Miller is probably one of the most dominant closers I've ever seen. Um, he is disgusting on the mound. Like he's kind of like if you're not scoring against him, you're just not. And so if you have to make sure you have a lead early in that game, because if they have to use Mason Miller to close out the game, you're not going to win it. The Royals have been pretty bad, as we've seen, and we beat them the last time, so I'm not really worried about them. The Diamondbacks, I think, is probably the one series I'm really interested in the most out of this entire
It's a
stretch.
4-game series.
It's a 4-game series, and it's the return of Nolan Arenado to Busch Stadium.
That'll probably
And
sell well.
yeah, and I think just they're one of the wild card teams hunting right now. And I know the Padres are too, but I'm not really, like I said, I'm not really too worried about where they stand. But I think the Diamondbacks are the one team that's like they're sneaky good this year, and I think going to add a little bit more fire onto what's already building with just these two organizations. But
Was
I
it
feel
last
pretty
year
good.
that they made a deep dive in the playoffs, or am I just like having a fever dream?
2023 they made the World Series out of
Oh,
nowhere.
that's what I'm thinking of. Damn, time flies. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're old.
I do have multiple chins.
But no, I feel good going into the series, like these next few series overall, especially the Mets one. I'm hoping on next Monday when we start talking about the Padres series that we talk about a really good week with series wins and potentially sweeps. So for that, I feel pretty happy with. And like I said, the Reds series was sloppy, but seeing guys like Nootbaar come back, which I definitely want to touch on, and he came back loud. In those 3 games, he had that home run on Saturday, but the other thing was he had 3 walks as well. That's the thing about Nootbaar is walks in this game have changed completely to where if you just get on base, you can make stuff happen. And we've seen that's what it comes down to. And seeing Nootbaar come in without any hesitation of what he's known for is getting on base and being on base on every single game of that series, and even coming through in clutch moments, which is what he should do as the new veteran guy, because he is the oldest position player on this team.
Yeah.
And just that moment that he had Saturday with that go-ahead home run was just awesome to see. The tarps off section was going crazy, and I know he loves the tarps off whole thing. That's his energy. Like this team is. If you go back to 2022, a lot of the energy was coming from Nootbaar, just being the young guy with a lot of veterans. And now all those veterans are gone, so now he's kind of stepping into that veteran role, but he's still continuing to have that energy that some players just aren't able to have through a whole 162 game season.
But speaking of energy, you ever know the pepper shaker thing?
Yeah.
Doesn't that kind of look like a dick sometimes? I thought about that the other day. That shit look like a dick if you look at it right. Yeah, I guess it's wrong.
Yeah, the pepper grinder thing is he brought it back. He did. He used it on
They went back last year.
Oh,
We had
they-
little fucking
did they really?
hands flapping shit.
Yeah, he used it when he was rounding third on that home run. He like did the whole pepper grinder
dick
thing.
sucking thing. Yeah.
Have you guys
They're
seen
gonna
the
see
video
this.
of the
They're gonna
Dodgers?
stop.
Have you guys seen the video of the Dodgers though? What they did? Theirs was worse. I think this was a couple years ago. If you can find the video, it's so
Let me
funny.
see.
If you go and like 4 of them, and they're all around each other, like surrounding each other, and they're like, oh, and then one was like, oh.
Oh,
Jesus.
oh, the Giants and the Dodgers won.
No, that was the Giants where it was like Harrison Bader like in the outfield, they're all like humping each other. That was funny too. That's funny that former Cardinal Harrison Bader did that, but they got in trouble with the league.
Oh,
for that.
what is this?
Yeah.
I don't know if I can pull it up with TikTok. Let me see.
No, talking about players that used to get on base all the time. That's what got me into the Cardinals now recently was Brendan Donovan and his play because it made me appreciate someone battling with the pitcher while at bat to like just stay in it regardless and just get those pitches, that pitch count up and whatnot.
Yeah, and Newbar is basically like another JJ Weatherholt in your lineup too, and we've seen how
Yeah.
valuable he's been. And getting another JJ in your lineup like that with production wise is funny.
Bad?
That
Dong.
Is that it?
that's one of them, but that's not the one. Hang
Damn
on,
it.
let me see if I can find the link to it because it's so funny. But
Guys, I think I know what we need to start doing at bars.
Just start dick dumping
Yeah, just go.
instead of tub thumping. It's cho thumping.
Yeah, I get knocked down, but I get up again.
I can't find it. I know I've seen it before. It's been a couple years, but that was really funny on how they were doing that. Oh, that's what it was. It was a water bottle. It was Mookie Betts. He was doing it, and then like they started pouring water on his face. Like at the very end of it. But no, the kind of
it says X-rated. This has to be it.
It's X-rated. It has to be it.
Oh yeah, this is it. Okay, hold on. Let me load this up for you guys.
Oh, heck
You like that?
Yeah.
And then add to stage. Here we go.
And to bring on John Brebbia, and Mookie Betts greets him with a 3-run home run.
Yeah, that's
That's
fucked
it.
up.
You gotta show the Giants one for good measure, though.
Yeah, we'll show the Giants one.
The Giants one is one of my favorite things I've seen because Harrison Bader, that's like just so fitting for him. But no, the kind of wrap up my Cardinals thoughts though is just let's keep the momentum going because if you can go into the momentum like this, then we can have serious conversations about the trade deadline and what that could look like because that could get.
I just want pitching.
That could get really interesting. I want a third baseman. That's not Nolan Gorman, but I don't know if anyone's going to be available.
I think we should reach out to Adam Wainwright and just bring him back. You know, why
No,
not?
keep him in the booth, please. Don't let him come out and sing. I love Adam Wainwright, but
I don't like it. I don't want to hear him sing.
no, he's that whole last year was so sad. I'm glad that he's in his like Fox bag right now because he's a good broadcaster with the personality.
Hold on, let me restart this. Don't look at that Star Wars video.
So we copyright strike.
There it is.
This is actually why I agreed to do the baseball segment in this video.
Yeah, just this one.
Let's do it one more time. This is just.
I didn't know
This
they've
is
been
so
doing
loud.
it for a while. This is John Boy.
Actually, guys, this is a live look at how Brennan, Mason, and I meet up at bars. If you ever see us downtown, we just get together and hug, and we just get like that.
There's just a couple of guys having
Now,
fun
Keith.
though. But you know what? It's
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
It's funny because the Giants are awful this year, and they just have that going on for them. It's just like because I saw
They
like
have to find
a
way to have
lot
fun.
of Giants fans are like kind of mad at it because they're like, you can only do that when you're good. Like you guys aren't good. You can't be doing crap
No,
like
you
that.
give the people something to watch.
I have to have something to look forward to.
But no, like last thoughts on the.
You're like going to bed watching the Giants game. Oh, the Dodgers is on. You like go in your room and shut the door. Turn off the lights.
No, but the last thoughts I have on the Cardinals is great series against the Reds, and like I said, just try to keep this going because, like I was saying, like we could have a really good trade deadline episode if that does go down. I think we'll have them regardless, even if we sell, because it'll be interesting still. But
I'm just saying though, if it turns out that they lose most of these series, I can't wait for next week's episode and Brennan's meltdown.
yeah, let's hope there's not a meltdown for me.
Yeah, this is Brennan's turn to be fucking disappointed with the guy.
I've been a Blues fan most of my life. I'm over being disappointed. I got my cup. I'm done. I can die happy now. It's over for me, guys.
But no, you guys have any other final thoughts with anything that we talked about before we head out of here?
Have you had any stray Blues thoughts, Sean, for the Blues audience?
I'd love to see Dylan Larkin come to the Blues. That'd be sick. That's currently the talks right now. As we date this, June 8th, Dylan Larkin, captain of the Detroit Red Wings, has requested a trade out of Detroit because he has only made the playoffs once in his career from the last, I think it's 10 or 11 years being in Detroit. He's a center, and he's asking because he's tired of Steve Yzerman and the Yzer plan in Detroit. It's just not working out. Detroit has collapsed too many times leading into playoffs, and he's just had enough, and he doesn't like how Yzerman's treated him, so he's trying to take his ball and go home. As to where he goes, I doubt they actually move him because he went up to the Yzerman. He's like, I have a no-trade list. He's like, all right, where do you need to go? He's like, you can only trade me to Florida, Vegas, and Minnesota.
Yeah, all the fucking
all the teams that are good and have no assets. So I highly doubt Yzerman will take it serious and just be like, all right, that sounds like a you problem. I'll see you at training camp next year. But no, these are the kinds of trades and players that come up that I see the Blues utilizing their draft capital to go. I did get to see an interesting rumor that came out recently from all the podcasts I listened to where there was talk of Thomas being traded. I want to make sure. I want to fact check this properly because
I do want to mention that some dude that this is on Bleacher Report. Someone said that Larkin would also be interested in the Islanders, the Ducks, and Tampa Bay. Lightning.
The Islanders make sense.
Some convincing on Detroit's part.
Yeah. The Islanders make sense because they have kind of an older center core in John Gabriel Pajot. But and the Ducks could get anybody. They have all the cap space in the world, and they're such a fun team. Joel Quenneville's
really cool.
Joel Quenneville being the coach over there is great. I think he's doing a great job in leading those younger players into being something better. But I brought back up the trade. So there was the Knicks trade that was supposed to happen that didn't. I don't know who said no because I can't remember, but it was supposed to be Robert Thomas to Philadelphia for their first-round pick and a player named Porter Martone, who was the 6th overall pick in 2025. And this got me thinking, if that is the asking price for the premium players in St. Louis of Thomas, Bennington, and Parayko, those three are the cornerstone, the remaining gems of the 2019 Cup run that have that pedigree and status to them. It's interesting to see that it is a first-round pick and it has to be someone from a top 10 draft pick from the last few years. Because if you remember the Buffalo Sabres, that trade was supposed to be Parayko to Buffalo for a first-round pick and Radim Murtka, who is the 9th overall pick in the 2025 NHL draft. So I trust in the process. If that's the asking price for these premium players that we have, I'm all for it. I think that's great asset management to get someone who's already a year or two in development and such a high draft pedigree to come in and then fill in roles real fast for the team going forward.
Yeah, I'm just really. It just sucked to see a lot of those players go. We were talking about last episode with Bennington. That would suck to see. But if we get good returns, and
It's coming.
yeah,
I think it's coming.
I think so too, and it's gonna. Like I keep saying, it's this is all speculation and just things that we can hear and whatnot going on in the league, and the dog days of it all as we wait for the cup to be given to someone. It's just we got to wait for speculation and wait and see what comes from it all. I'm excited because it's again that draft capital. I cannot stress this enough. You cannot have 3 first-round picks and not try and do something to make your team better today.
mm-hmm.
Like, even looking at the standings for the Blues, and I know that since they did miss playoffs, it was only by, I think maybe 4 to 5 points. That's 2 extra wins, and you gave up 2 to 3 wins, and you gave up 2-4 goal.
They put up a lot of wins last year.
Yeah.
There's so many late game blows.
Yeah.
You can't get over it from Winnipeg.
You can, yeah. And that was another thing that came out, too, is that they fired coaching staff to bring in someone who can fix the power play, who can fix these end time moments that they've been having. And it's you got to do it. It's got to get better. You can only go up.
All right, Mason, any final thoughts about Battlehawks?
Don't give up on the Darlings.
And on that note, we're going to get on out of here.
Yeah, we'll get out of here. The one thing I'll say is we have a fun episode coming to this week, too. That's not sports related, but St. Louis related. I think it'll be a lot of fun to go through. Rage baiting and all that. That's your preview, but you have to look out for that. And like I said, follow us on all our socials, too. We are really trying to engage the community like we did the Battlehawks game. And we're going to be doing that moving forward for sure. So follow along with us on our journey to take over St. Louis media. This is Behind the Lou. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.